Welcome everybody to the most must hear podcast, most essential podcast. I was trying to do a Miz thing. Welcome to Backstage Brawl, guys. Episode 5, Raw NXT AEW review. But most importantly, going over the news in the week. We had a loss of a legend. We had loss of talents in the sense of their jobs. And it was a bleak day on Wednesday for wrestling. I am Strunk. Three. Well, quicker thoughts on the week in wrestling, guys. The product is really bad right now and really getting tough to watch. The I Tuesday is the most must see wrestling night on TV right now, and there's no question about it with Dark Side of the Ring. So, I mean, but you should. Well, they're individual episodes though. Like, yeah, so I'm okay with it. The Brawl for All one was a light. The New Jack one was pretty damn dark. The Jimmy Snuka one was okay. But the Brawl for All was entertaining, and then of course the Benoit one, I cried no less than 3 or 4 times throughout that one. So, um, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it. There's a couple moments there where oh man, like just fight back tears. Oh, I see what you did there. Just just like the Randy Orton Edge match, throwing the spots in there. All right, well, let's while we're on depressing matters, let's Howard Finkel passed. I believe at the ripe old age of 69, if I'm not mistaken. I don't I haven't found anything. I was wondering if it was COVID, but I haven't heard anything. Um, I I will tell you Howard Finkel was a dirty old man, so him dying at 69 was pretty fitting, and he would probably get a kick out of that. I Yeah, I mean he was in rough shape. I saw him backstage. Not me personally. I saw a backstage footage of him at one of the most recent events when they were doing a 24 or something, and he looked worn. I mean, he looked rough. Ric Flair, yeah, yeah, he did. He looked rough, and took very few to begin with. But he was a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. It's sad to see him go. I was telling Ferdy because Ferdy wasn't super familiar. Just didn't pay too much attention to his work. Um, most recently memorable, he came back as CM Punk's personal ring announcer during Punk's last championship run, which was really cool. So, well, he'll be missed. And then the sad news continues with the release of many, many. And that doesn't include. She's an announcer. She's a ring announcer. She wasn't actually a wrestler. Yeah. Well, they furloughed a ton. Yeah. I thought their total employees was like 750. Right. All right. Uh, let's review Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, or Raw, NXT, and AEW real quick. It was there. All right. Continuing on. Uh, so okay, so I actually, well, yeah, that's definitely unstable, and Zelina running anything is fantastic. More Zelina on TV is great. My question is because there was talks about Seth losing all of his disciples going into Mania, Op being hurt, and I just that was the talk. Is he now part of this Zelina Vega crew with the finish of Raw? they, they love 6-man tag matches. Right. NXT. So let me recap what happened at the end of the match. So if you didn't watch Raw, Selena Vega's little stable of Austin Theory, come on, Angel Garza and Andrade. Yes, there you go. They were all over Raw. They all had matches, individual matches. They were interfering in things. They were all over Raw. Zelina was on commentary at one point. She was standing on the table at one point. But the end of the night saw Andrade versus Drew McIntyre. McIntyre won that match pretty clean, to say the least. And then at the end of the match, Seth Rollins came out and he curb stomped McIntyre, and then Raw went off air. So that's I didn't look anything into him being with Selena and that crew, but then after reading some Twitter stuff and thinking about it, maybe that is where he's going because he's been saying no matter what the stable thing's happening with him. So maybe he's part of that group, and I'm okay with that if that's true. Uh, I agree. They shouldn't be in the ring together. They shouldn't have been in the ring together. Right. That's facts. That's what pisses me off. Why is he there? Austin Theory beat who did Austin Theory beat on Raw? Oh, Akira Tozawa, yeah. Only to be able to lose next week in his Money in the Bank qualifier match. So, um, yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, I like I like the fact that KO won at Mania. And I want the biggest and best things to happen for Kevin Owens. But at the same time, if you're gonna go right into a championship feud with Rollins, how do you have KO win there? You really should have had Rollins win there if that's where they're going, because you can't shove KO, a face KO where he's at right now, into a feud with McIntyre, who's also playing the face card. So like, in that sense, I really wish, or you could even maybe had Selena Vega come out during that match at Mania. I don't know, but I really wish they wouldn't have had Rollins lose clean like that and then go right into a championship feud, where he's not going to win either. Let's be real. I don't think he's taking that belt off. I agree. Yeah, I don't. U.S. title, yeah. Yeah. I would argue that the NXT women's and men's championships are the two most prestigious belts in wrestling right now. They're wrestlers. Yeah, I mean they're. I mean it's like obviously you can add AEW's championship into that mix, but for the most part, if you're looking at WWE as a standalone, there's no way that you're gonna put Braun, that title that Braun has, the title that Drew McIntyre has. None of them. Right, they just don't compare to Charlotte, who has the belt, and Adam Cole, who's had the belt for, we're going over a year, right? We went over a year. No, WrestleMania weekend was a year. Right. Sure. All right. So, this is a conversation that I really want to delve into and spend the majority of our hour to 2 hour podcast on. So let's run through the rest of these cards really quick, because I think we have very differing opinions on what went down this past week. So we kicked Raw off, and we had Asuka versus Ruby Riot. Asuka for a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Asuka obviously gets the win here. I hate that she has to do it over Ruby Riot. I actually see good things for Riot in the future. I wish they wouldn't keep beating her, especially coming back just so recently. I think they had an opportunity to push her again, and they kind of squandered that. Um, I would argue they're doing more with Liv than Ruby, though. But if you ask, yeah, if you ask Vince, it's because she's blonde, though. Yeah. So do either one? I'm gonna run through this, and I'll go to you for quick thoughts if you guys have anything to comment on, because some of this stuff is completely irrelevant. Anything about the Oscar match, other than Oscar's the best thing going for wrestling? I mean, without a crowd. So after that, we come back to MVP backstage in the MVP lounge. He announces 3 Money in the Bank qualifier matches next week on Raw. Rey Mysterio versus Murphy. Aleister Black versus Austin Theory. That's why Austin Theory got that win tonight, in my opinion, just to build him up a little bit to lose to Black next week. And then Apollo Crews versus MVP. Quick predictions. You guys want to add these predictions to our card for next week? Because since we know they're coming. Yeah. Yes. Mysterio versus Murphy. That's the one we could actually differ on, I think. And I'm going to pick Murphy. So basically all the other picks are identical. No one thinks MVP is beating Apollo Crews, right? I could agree. Now, the other thing with this is Aleister could get screwed by Austin Theory's little stable there, but I still don't think that's going to happen. So, screwed by his wife. Oh, I bet they do. I bet they do, and I bet it gets awkward. That'll be great. That makes great TV. We get Oni Larkin, NXT tag team talent, against Aleister Black in what was a fairly quick match. Black picks up the win there. No surprise. Any comments on that? He challenged for the championship. Yeah, Buddy Murphy. Yeah, but he never won. All right. We get look back at Becky Lynch and Shayna. Nothing really. Becky cut a little promo. Talks about retaining. We really didn't get any what's coming up for Becky, other than Money in the Bank. So I don't think we're gonna see her defend at Money in the Bank. Shoot. I'm just paying you guys back for last week. Yeah, we're probably it. I don't understand why it's not monitoring, but it. God damn it! I don't see the desktop audio actually picking up. What is going on here? Talk. Yep. All right, now they can hear you guys.
All right. Well, welcome back.
Fuck. All right,
We're gonna make this. We're gonna make the podcast over the releases this week.
Strong, this is 2 weeks in a row. I need you to
Go ahead,
you
Sean.
to get together.
step up my game. Well, good thing I was the one doing all the reviewing. You guys got 20 minutes of makeup for last week when I didn't get to talk for the first 20 minutes. So, anyways, we'll continue on with this since I was the one talking anyway. Big Show. Let's hear back from the break. Announcers congratulate Big Show on the success of the Big Show. Has anyone else watched it?
No.
Did you enjoy Full House as a kid?
I watched Main Event,
I did watch
not
Main
a
Event
kid.
also.
but I liked that movie. But I wish they didn't make it so unrealistic.
So do you think the kid name being Leo was a rib on Leo Rush?
I hope not. It didn't cross my mind when that was said, but I guess now, yeah.
You better hope not.
So
we found suit.
we get another qualifying match with the no longer employed Sarah Logan versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna broke her arm.
And there's the on-air botch with the referee.
Well, yeah. So they actually claimed Sarah Logan the winner on the card. They later went back and said that she was unable to compete, so they declared her
Right.
the loser.
Yeah.
So that was a good botch there. Which I do believe this show was taped, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was live.
Oh no, it was live, right?
It was live.
Because they're essential, right? Yeah.
Okay.
They're going live next week too, and then
Let me fire my 20-year experience referee and let this one ruin everything.
There you go. That's about
Next.
money. You guarantee that.
Oh yeah.
Seth Rollins, we saw him a couple times pacing in different spots in the arena.
Saying different things.
Yeah. I mean, I like heel Rollins. Don't get me wrong. He's better than face Rollins, but it is what it is. Austin Theory versus Akira Tozawa. Good match. Theory gets the win there. No big deal. Let's see here. Where else we got?
I'm actually surprised they let Akira Tozawa lose because they're talking about trying to use this economic decline as leverage to buy a Japanese wrestling promotion. So I'm actually surprised that they let a Japanese on-air talent lose, because the last time they were big in Japan, they let Shinsuke and Asuka win titles.
Right.
Or they headlined their
Rumble
WrestleMania.
and yeah.
So
they both won Rumble the same year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like right now, they're probably strapped for cash, so it's the furthest thing from their mind. But it's still a surprise to me, thinking like this is a business expert who's going to help the president reopen the country. Anyway, continue.
Angel Garza versus what might be the best name in wrestling, Tahuti Miles, another NXT talent. Angel Garza picks up the win. Like we said earlier, the Selena Vega stable was all over this card. It was the majority of them throughout the entire thing. Asuka and Kairi Sane backstage, congratulating Asuka, talking about Kairi Sane's match later with Nia Jax, which is up next. Kairi Sane gets squashed. I will be honest with you. I was going to ask you guys this later. Kairi Sane not being cut is the biggest shock on the cuts to me.
I don't think it's shocking. I think because they're still holding leverage on some people. I think they could have released a lot more people that don't do anything, and she's one of them. But because she'd be so popular somewhere else, because like you read about it everywhere.
The thing is, she won't go back. She won't go to AEW though. She'll go to New Japan.
No, she'll go to New Japan.
Yeah,
right.
So like, I don't feel like they feel like that's a huge competitor for them, and I thought that, but they're also not paying her shit.
But it is if they try to get into the Japanese market. Then they have somebody who worked for them back in Japan telling people not to work for them. Like they ran into the issue in the UK, where UK wrestlers were like, "You're ruining the sanctity of our pastime," and then Pete Dunne was like, "No, this is gonna be fucking great." And so Pete Dunne gets all of his buddies to sell out with him, but Kairi Sane's not happy. So if Kairi Sane goes back to Japan and she's like, "You guys, you don't want to do this. This will ruin your career. You'll literally be jobbed out every week, or you just won't be relevant anymore." They don't want that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I just. It sucks because Kairi Sane is awesome, and it's unfortunate where she's at in the eyes of WWE. So, anything to add to that, Mr. Ferdy?
No, my mind's boggled by how shit this Raw was. So
it really is. We get a great Charlotte Flair promo. Again, heel Charlotte, just like heel Rollins is best Charlotte. She talks about how the next big thing wasn't Rhea Ripley. She mentions Io Shirai being the number one contender for her belt, but she's not worried about her either. And Vince McMahon knows that she's the best, which is why she was added to last year's main event and blah, blah, blah. So no real confrontation or anything there. Let's see here. Now, I'll tell you one thing I didn't catch, and shame on me, is Punk was back on Backstage on Tuesday, which they promoted.
Yes. Yeah, they promoted, yep.
Did you catch that, or do you know anything about it?
No.
Oh, go ahead, buddy. I caught the.
No, I didn't. I didn't watch it. I read the headline.
I caught the the clips. He pretty much says like Ronda Rousey is doing what she's supposed to, and how she would have made a better heel than a face when she came in anyway.
100%.
And this is she's just doing her job, and everybody who's marking out on it is just eating out of the palm of her hand.
Perfect. And I couldn't agree more.
Right.
It's obviously a work. It's 100% a work. And other than her debut, we were live. Ferdy and I were live at the Mania where she debuted, and let me tell you, she crushed it. Might have been the best match on the card.
It was the best debut probably ever. At Mania. I'm not sure. Maybe ever. For someone who doesn't wrestle. So.
Yeah, it was fantastic, but
should have been main event.
I was hoping at the end of that match she did something to Kurt Angle to turn heel, because, like Punk said, I do think she makes a natural heel. She makes a natural Brock Lesnar female. Because
she's an outsider,
right? And I do think that they should just put Paul Heyman on her. It's no secret that she's a Paul Heyman girl. Put Paul on her, let him do his shtick with her, and let her run roughshod again and work 5-6 times a year. I'm perfectly fine with that until she gets pregnant.
Not to interrupt. There is a news article that just came out. It says 205 Live won't feature new matches tonight. It'll only focus on Brian Kendrick's career.
Cool.
So I know everybody was excited to watch 205 Live.
Dying to watch it.
Up next, we get a theme of what's going on. A no longer employed No Way Jose versus Bob Lashley. with Lana. He gets out of the ring in the middle of this match, which is the most notable thing, and yells at Lana. And Lana has that big pouty face, which she does so well. I was almost expecting No Way Jose to get a roll-up win here at some point, just to further the storyline of him getting rid of Lana. But he didn't. He speared the shit out of him, and Bobby Lashley picks up the win there. Another backstage Rollins. Look at the Viking Raiders. We get Viking Raiders versus Team Ricochet and Cedric Alexander.
And then they beat Ricochet and Cedric Alexander.
Of course they did. The Viking Raiders win that. They were the rumor for the Viking Raiders was they were actually supposed to be in that Mania match versus Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So, it is what it is.
Why couldn't they have released? And why couldn't they release those two, Cedric and?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want anyone to lose your job, but God,
could you imagine Ricochet?
Keep losing Omega? Can you imagine Ricochet versus anybody? Because let's be honest, like Ricochet is the top, and not to mention he's like literally what AEW.
Yeah, he's the
wrestler is.
Yep,
like
absolutely. He would.
And Cedric, I mean, his wife works there. That's probably why.
Big swole.
Yeah, like so. Yeah. I did
Pretty
so.
loves him some big swole.
Actually, one of the things I really liked coming out of this Raw was the promo that Charlie Caruso did with the Street Profits and Bianca Belair, and they were kind of playing up to their gimmick, and we're not worried about them, and this is easy. And Bianca comes in and basically tells them like, "Don't be stupid. Take these guys seriously. They're bigger than you, and get your heads on straight." And I actually kind of like that. It did stand out to me on the show, and goddamn, I think Bianca's gonna be a fucking star.
Bianca, yeah. Oh yeah, Bianca is it's funny because I think they're putting all these women with men stables because they're like getting ready for another mixed tag challenge.
Yeah.
But I will hope that they continue with the stables. I think that's one thing they should steal from AEW. I think that they do very well.
I do think that they're mixing them. I don't think it's because of a mixed tag challenge. I think like that's the only way. And I'm not trying to blame. And no, and I'm not blaming Vince or anybody in particular, but like there's a specific writing style that is WWE TV, and it's really annoying. And it's for the longest time, like unless you're like a big headlining name like Charlotte Flair or Ronda Rousey, like you start in like this, like I talked about Scarlett Bordeaux, like you start in like this managerial capacity until you prove that you can wrestle. And it's happened a lot when you're not like a chosen one, like Trish Stratus, like she debuted as like the valet for Test and Albert and the APA,
but she couldn't wrestle. That's the biggest difference between the women of before today. They all can wrestle,
right? But what I'm saying is the writing hasn't changed since then. So like True. when you're not a big name like a 4 Horsewoman type name, or I think NXT's helped denigrate or diminish that a lot.
Yeah.
But like they can't have Bianca walk out and beat the shit out of Becky. So what do? They stick her behind. They stick her next to her husband to interfere in matches.
Why not? So I mean, shit, they did it with the Street Profits when they brought them up too. They let them literally put them on TV every week for what 5 months of just doing promos. They didn't wrestle.
Right. Yeah. Like their first promo night, I think, was that 25th anniversary of Raw, the Raw anniversary.
Oh, yep, I think you're correct. Yeah. So.
And yeah, because they're in the back with RVD. Getting messed up with RVD.
So
anyway.
We already went over the main event of Raw. That was the Drew McIntyre versus Andrade match. We talked about that. We're getting Seth Rollins versus Drew. Great. I'll move on to what I think hands down, which again, not saying much, but I think hands down again was the best show this week, which was NXT. And they kicked off what I thought was the best match of the week as well with Finn Balor and Fabian. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I just know he's Fabian. Archer? Either way, goddamn Finn Balor is good, and they're paying him a lot of money to be in NXT, but Jesus Christ, man.
I'm glad he's in NXT, to be honest. Just because of the simple fact we get to watch him wrestle, and we get to watch him win, and we get to watch him like actually have a character. So if he has to be in NXT, cool, I'm with it. I think it's great. The best thing he's done since he's been in WWE, besides being in NXT the first time.
No, I completely agree. And this match was awesome. It wasn't super long, but for a TV match for really an unknown versus Finn, Finn works well with people that you don't hear about a lot. He's done that in the past. We get Finn winning here. He's gonna go up against Walter, and we talked about this in the past podcast. I don't know if it's going to be for the belt or not. I'm really hoping it's not, but we'll see, right? Moving on, we get a little bit of a update on Velveteen Dream. He's going to have a little promo tonight in his deep purple lights. Charlotte's going to talk. Let's see here. We get Tegan Nox versus Raquel Gonzalez, who I don't
She was
know.
like batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I beating the shit out of her.
Shotzi Blackheart ran in at the end of this match too. Tegan Nox picks up the win. Again, the NXT women's division showing that they're hands down better than everybody else when it comes to women's wrestling.
Can we all agree that they should just cancel 205 Live and have like a Glow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like women's, like, it doesn't need to be called Glow, but whatever. Like, God.
Well, they really should, because there's an entire promotion dedicated to women, and it does phenomenally.
In Japan?
It's in America.
Women of wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, women of wrestling.
And like all the women who are in like other promotions wrestle there. Like Tessa Blanchard, Taya Valkyrie, not Dakota Kai, Kylie Ray wrestles there.
Yep.
Like Emma, whatever her name is now, Neil Dashwood or whatever.
Yeah.
They all have permission to work there, because the companies know that like working for an all women's promotion is very important to these women.
Yeah.
And it's part of their success, really, because like Taya Valkyrie is like the longest reigning. No, that's AAA.
They have to learn how to get bullied by Tessa Blanchard, so they can have tough skin to go to WWE.
As
right?
long as they're not of African descent, they'll be all right.
Right? Yeah, they'll be good.
Another women's match, which Aaliyah versus Xia Li. I'm not sold on Xia Li. They are super high on her, in my opinion.
I think she's fantastic.
I mean,
in the ring, anyways. Granted, she's never going to talk, so she probably won't win anything.
She's from Chinese descent, which is different because most of these wrestlers are Japanese descent. So her being Chinese descent is a big deal for them. And if you go to any NXT live event, whether it be just a live event or a taping, they actually have a minute and a half to 2 minute spot where they show a background story on Xia Li, which they have not shown on TV yet. But I've been to 2 live events and a taping, and at all 3 of them, they've showed that little same 2 minute.
Oh yeah, they showed it when we were there.
I'm curious.
Yes, they showed it when we were there. Yeah.
Do you guys think that she will be the one to eventually beat Charlotte or Rhea?
No.
They're building her up. I don't know.
I would like to see her find a tag team partner, honestly, and go into the womenn's tag team.
Well, who else is Chinese descent or Japanese they could throw her with? It'll probably be Asuka.
Jesus.
I don't know. But Xia Li picks up the win, and Aaliyah was one I was surprised that made the cut of staying in the company. To be honest with you.
They broke her nose like 3 months ago, so they had to make up for it. Like,
we were there for that too. We were there for that too.
It was Xia Li.
That was awesome.
Yeah, Xia Li kicked her in the nose. Yeah,
and it was Xia Li who broke her nose.
Yep. So.
You remember that? I was like, "Oh my god, her nose is broken." He was like, "No, I don't think it is." Like, no, that bitch is bleeding.
Yeah, shit was cut.
Now, I don't know if we fixed the audio prior to this or not, but Akira Tozawa was discussed earlier, and AJ was a little bit surprised that Akira Tozawa was not pushed a little bit bigger on Raw because of what they're doing with New Japan, or in Japan, what they want to do with Japan. But he was in an Intercontinental title match versus Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Cruiserweight.
What'd I say?
Intercontinental.
It's not the same title.
I mean, they're both as useless. One's purple.
And Akira Tozawa does pick up the win here. Also surprising, I really like Isaiah Swerve Scott. I don't know how old of a gentleman he is, but
he's 22 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so he's super young.
He's awesome.
He's awesome.
gonna be a big star.
Entertaining as hell.
He's next generation's Kofi Kingston.
There you go.
If you want to put something
absolutely.
on that.
Absolutely. So they're gonna make him pretend he's Jamaican for 10 years to get some credibility.
Yeah, man.
And then Randy Orton's gonna bury him.
And then Triple H is gonna be like, "Aren't you supposed to be Jamaican? Where'd your accent go?"
We get Dexter Lumis, who we saw a dark match with. Very interesting person.
So good. Serial killer.
Versus my favorite name in wrestling, Tahuti Miles. Just all over these shows, man.
We saw Dexter Lumis at the NXT show we went to.
Yes, in a dark match.
That's what he just said, yeah, in a dark match.
I thought you meant... Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
And we get a win by Dexter Lumis, who just stares randomly into oblivion and is weird.
He's a really big dude for only being He's only 229. He's a big dude for 229.
He is a big dude.
Very.
Adam Cole is supposed to be meeting with Velveteen Dream, but he's still not there yet. We get Dream coming out. Balor comes out and he doesn't know if he likes him. Talks about possibly going on a date, and Dream asks him if he'll go on the date with him next week. If we get a triple threat with Balor, Dream, and Adam Cole, sign me up, please. I'll pay.
I was gonna say, do you think that Adam Cole or not Adam Cole, the Dream versus Finn happens? I'm like, why would either of those would want them to lose? So right. I'm curious on how that's gonna play out. But the triple threat is a good idea. So.
If it's a triple threat, I think Cole loses the title no matter what, and I think Cole takes the pin no matter what. I don't know which direction they go with the belt, because I think once Finn gets that belt back, he's going to have it for a hot minute, like a long time.
I think they should hot potato it a little bit, personally.
I don't give it to Dream first.
Give it to Dream.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Finn beats Adam Cole for that belt.
I don't think Finn needs the belt honestly.
He doesn't.
Exactly. Finn hasn't gotten a belt. Like, Finn was Intercontinental Champion for like 3 weeks, right? And then, like, Vince is like, give me that back, little boy. Like,
till he wore the blue pants, and he lost that shit.
Well, so I mean, if you think about it, though, Finn's now battling with the UK champion, and he's involved in the main feud of NXT.
He's everywhere, bro.
He's everywhere, and he should be. But I do think I do think Dream should get the belt, and I think it's time to put the belt on him and let him. I mean, he is the most interesting thing on. He's in the top 5 like must see acts in wrestling right now for sure.
What I don't understand is Finn Balor said he went to NXT. Well, the rumor was Finn Balor went to NXT because he was sick of the schedule of working like Raw and SmackDown and not receiving anything for it, like not getting any title pushes or anything like that. But now he's working NXT and NXT UK, which makes no.
I mean, he's closer to home,
right? But what I'm saying is, when he has to do filming for NXT UK, he has to go.
Yeah.
Do stuff like, and it might be like they film his shit in advance and they do some shopping and stuff. But like like you said, he's involved in a feud in regular NXT. The NXT UK stuff's probably already pre-taped and done.
Yeah.
But at the same time, at some point, he had to pull double duty.
Yeah, but I think I don't think he has a problem wrestling. I really think that was a shoot work kind of situation where there's some truth behind it, but at the same time, he's working into his new heel character and saying like, I don't want to wrestle in front of all these fans every week for nothing. You know, like I don't think it was really a I need a later schedule yet type of argument. I think it was more of a I want to do more relevant stuff, and I want 20-minute matches every time I go out there.
He doesn't look like the type to complain about wrestling.
Right, exactly. He enjoys wrestling, and I think that's what he wants to do, and he's going to wrestle against better talent in UK and in NXT right now. That's all there is to it, you know. So I don't know. I see what you're saying there, but yeah, it's definitely something interesting to move forward.
Yeah, it's just something to think about, right?
Yep.
So finally we have the next.
We get the NXT Tag Team Title match, Undisputed Era versus Matt Riddle, and because of travel issues, apparently
Tobias Thatcher.
Yeah, Thatcher makes his debut here, who they showed on TV a couple months ago, and they haven't done anything with him. I almost thought Undisputed Era was gonna get the titles back here, but Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher pick up the win. I'm curious to see if they end up with a Thatcher Dunn feud coming out of this. Maybe like, oh, I deserve to be in this, more type deal. And they eventually drop the titles and they go off of that, and then Matt Riddle goes off into the to the other belt there on NXT with Keith Lee. To
the Goldberg. Matt, no.
So nothing too exciting there. Good matches again. The most interesting thing that came out of tonight was Ciampa telling Gargano he was the better man. He won with a little hint of sarcasm in there, and then we get Killer Cross attacking him. We see
Karrion Kross,
yeah. And we get to see boots on the ground. We don't get to see who they belong to, but everyone's suspicion is it's Scarlett Bordeaux. So and then they go off air. So I do think that was the best show of the night. But I think the star power is feeding off the reason for that. With Finn being there, Charlotte being there, I think Dream, even though he's young, is probably is a huge star. So I like the show a lot. And
everybody was predicting the Cross debut too. So
the Cross debuted. Yep. Freddie, I'm gonna let you go ahead and run through the AEW card, and if you want to pull that up real quick. I know you're a little surprised, so.
I got it right here if you want, Freddie.
Ferdy, you're muted, brother. There you go.
Oops. Whoopsie doopsie. I figured, fuck it, we'll do it for the second time today. AEW was kind of blah. I think coming from someone who loves AEW, I think NXT was a way better show. Chris Jericho, again, probably one of the best things on the show.
100%.
I hope when he retires, if he feels like he needs to do something in wrestling, it's commentary. They kicked off with Lance Archer and the Colt Cabana qualifying match, or not qualifying, I guess. Lance dominated most of this match. Cabana had a little bit of offense, but it ended the same way. Archer picking up a good victory. What do you guys think about? I was gonna say, what do you guys think about Cabana taking an L?
Well, I will say the promo before the match gave you just a slight hint of he could win this, maybe. I mean, there was no one that really thought he was going to beat him here, but I will say, as far as storytelling goes, he did a very good job coming across on the mic as like, hey, don't count me out yet. Like, I know everyone thinks I'm not a loss, but don't count me out yet. And you had that little suspense of disbelief where just maybe he was going to win that match.
I think AEW does that very well in a lot of their matches. For example, last week the Dean Ambrose, oh my god, I'm sorry, John Moxley promo that it was like a big fight feel because no one thought he was gonna lose.
Correct.
But I think every week they have one of these cut promos that build up a match just a little bit. You care just a little bit more about it. So I think they do a great job about with the promos. So
it did show how powerful Lance Archer was against a normal-sized human being.
Yes, Colt's not small.
Right, Colt is bigger than Cody Rhodes. He's a lot bigger than what's his name there, Marco Stunt. So,
you don't say.
Like when he caught Cabana into the full Nelson Slam type thing.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was very impressive. So it was good at showcasing how big of a dude Lance Archer is. I honestly think he's blast through this tournament. I honestly think that the Cody match, even though it's supposed to be a big thing, I think it's gonna be like Rocky 3 where he gets beat up by Mr. T. I think like that could be a very real thing, and then have Cody come back like a broken man and stuff like that.
I don't think so, and here's why. I think, and at least so far in AEW, even in some of these squash matches, they get offense in. Even Colt Cabana did get a lot more offense than I would like to see.
A whopping 90 seconds of offense.
It's more than just a 30-second match of him 2 moves and a pin. I just don't see him crushing him.
I'm not saying like a Goldberg level squash. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying like Cody is smaller than Colt, and Cody obviously wants to put Lance Archer over, and that's why he got involved in this feud in the first place. And you know what? The best way to do that is to literally beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes.
Sure. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think we could all agree it's probably going to be the final match. So, after that, we got another promo with probably, I don't know, maybe Strunk will disagree with me, the second best women in wrestling going right now.
No, I love Britt Baker. I'm super, super high on what they're doing with her.
I'm not okay with her calling herself a role model when that's Bayley's shtick. It's not okay. I do like how she has a picture of her own smile on the wall.
Well, she had a brace over her nose, from her last week's match. Talks about being a role model, always a fair fight, and she has a deviated septum because of it. She's great though. I guess I didn't think about the role model Bayley thing, but I don't know. It didn't cross my mind, so I guess I'm okay with it.
It's just a little
Bayley's irrelevant nowadays.
No, I know, but it's gimmick infringement.
It definitely is.
It's not just that. It's like you literally could have put the most minimal amount of effort in, to not do that. Right. Unless she's making a joke on the whole thing and saying, "Hey, look, I'm actually a professional outside of wrestling," and that's what it is really. Is she's like, I'm actually a dentist. I go home.
She is. And she cuts that in her promos.
And I go home and I'm a dentist 4 days a week. Like, you're not a role model because you sit there and cut half your hair off and wrestle 5-minute matches, once every 4 weeks. So if that's the thing she's going for, then good on her.
Right.
I'm like, we don't know where it's going yet, But at the same time, like if you're just gonna call yourself a role model, and that's gonna be your gimmick because you're a heel, it's not okay.
Yeah. Then they did have a match with Cassandra Golden, Britt Baker versus Cassandra Golden. Don't know much about her. I don't know if you guys do. Super quick match. It's a Goldberg type squash. A big super kick. Chokes Golden across the bottom rope. Puts her teeth around it and stomps her head down. And 1, 2, 3, that's over. Super quick. Any thoughts on that match?
They need to keep building her. Keep building her.
Keep building her. She's fantastic. The next thing for me was the best thing of the night was the Bubbly Bunch promo.
I said that good, man. The other day tonight.
So good. I've watched it like 5 times probably. Just I don't know. It's just stupid and funny.
The fact that he has his dogs in the promo was awesome.
Everything about it. I like the little cuts they were doing, like when he poured when Jericho was pouring the orange juice and he spilt it on purpose and they're showing it, like just stupid stuff like that.
And then you went back into the shot and the orange juice was gone?
And the orange juice was gone, yeah. Stupid stuff like that. So let's see here. Chris Jericho did make fun of Hangman Page for not being around. Is that something you think they're going to circle back around to after the Hardy feud?
I don't think so.
Just poking fun at keeping the storyline history relevant.
I think they're gonna do it. I think that's one thing that AEW will focus on going forward.
Blood and guts, I guess, is still gonna happen. So they're still gotta
so they're gonna
relevant.
and I think they'll keep. I don't think in 3 years from now, if they do say 3 years from now we do get a Page versus Jericho match, they're not gonna just forget like the first one ever happened. They're gonna actually go back to it and use it and talk about it. WWE is notorious for the fact that they went back and showed John Cena and Bray had a match 5 years ago was mind blowing because it's something they normally don't do. I do think AEW will be very good about talking about the history of their matches going forward. So it's great that Jericho is poking fun of something that makes sense.
Right.
Real quick, Cassandra Golden is a true independent wrestler. Like they just signed her. She's only been she's been a jobber at Impact.
Yeah, she lives in Orlando.
I think they did sign her.
That's good.
I think it's a shot at Kylie Ray because she jobbed at Kylie Ray 2 weeks ago at Impact. So I know they're above the childish games.
Well, and if you want to talk role model too, Kylie Ray kind of stole Bayley's gimmick. Well,
that's true. No,
hang on. No. Kylie Ray was actually doing it before Bayley in WWE. Kylie Ray was doing it on the independents, but Bayley became known for it, so Kylie Ray caught the flack for it. But that's almost, with that little bit of history, I could see with them doing the whole, bubbly role model making fun of gimmicks. So I'm okay with
it. Next up, another enhancement talent, I guess. Serge D versus the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara.
Suge D's actually, what's his name? Pineapple. I forget. It's Pineapple something.
Oh, Pineapple. Yes, yeah. The
Pineapple Pete, right?
Pineapple Pete. Yep.
He
looks pretty cool.
His old name in the Indies was Sugar Dunkerton.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, he used to dress up like a. No, that's. No, I'm thinking of it. I googled the wrong.
I think he'll be. I mean, I hope they do need some talent to keep around to squash, and he's going to be a good hand. So if he's around for a while, that's fine.
The big thing in this match was Jericho putting over Sammy. Obviously, the whole best friend, I love you kind of thing.
Jericho is the star in the company, and I will say that he doesn't need to be taking bumps every week, and having him on commentary during this time does so much for the product.
Yep.
While I think we're in agreement that NXT had the best show this week, without Jericho on commentary, this show is 100 times worse than it was.
Oh yeah. 100 times.
Good for them for looking at what they can do to improve their product on the TV and doing it. Taking what they did last week and saying, "Hey, this worked and people loved it. Let's." I was
going to say, I like that they try new things, and if it doesn't work, they scrap it and they say, "Hey, listen, it's not working. We're going to move on. It sucked. You said it sucked. It sucked."
Yep.
So that's one thing I wish WWE would do a little bit more, but they're a bigger company, so
it's harder. I get it though,
and it's harder. So, Guevara won with the inverted torture rack. There was a big knee to the head. 1, 2, 3. He definitely wins via pinfall. Your guys' boy was up next. Kip Sabian versus he was with Penelope Ford versus Chuck Taylor with the freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Thoughts on this match? It was all right. It was just a match. It was nothing special.
Penelope Ford's a star, no doubt about it.
Yep, way bigger than Kip Sabian.
100%. Now, our big disagreement is we think, being AJ and I think AJ's still in agreement, that Kip Sabian is going to beat Dustin Rhodes next week in this tournament.
Out your fucking mind.
And Ferdy disagrees. You still, even after watching tonight, you think that Kip Sabian is losing to Dustin Rhodes next week?
Yes. And the only way he wins is something AEW doesn't do often, is a heel tactic, and it will be Penelope getting involved.
Yeah, and that's fine, but
Cody specifically mentioned Penelope in his promo.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't pay that off somehow, like then you're like, well, what the fuck? Why did Cody waste his time talking about it?
Yeah, I got you. We'll see. I got to stick to my guns. I'm already at the fucking end of the road with this one. So
I'm thinking Rocky. I'm thinking Rocky 3, where Lance Archer just goes to the end and beats the Christ out of Cody Rhodes. And you're thinking Rocky 4, where Lance Archer kills Dustin, so then Cody can go back and kill him.
Yeah. Well,
that's literally.
I got to stick with it, man. Kip Sabian won. It was just nothing really special on this match.
Penelope Ford.
So you're saying Kip Sabian beat somebody. You're saying Kip Sabian beat somebody who beat Kenny Omega the prior week in a tag match. And you think Dustin Rhodes is going to lose or win?
100%.
Okay.
I'm sticking to it, bro. I gotta die with this one. So.
All right, let's push through the rest of the show.
Yeah, let's go through it. Sean Spears versus Justin Law. You guys love you some Sean Spears. He won easily.
He did need the win. He
did definitely need the win. And next, which was honestly probably, in my opinion, the boringest match I've ever seen in AEW. John Moxley versus Jake Hager in an empty arena, no holds bar for the belt. This was probably on the level of Edge and
I was going to ask. I mean, it was as bad,
I couldn't tell you which one was worse.
The only reason I would say Moxley and Hager was better is because it was shorter. It was
still 15 minutes too long.
Absolutely.
Why are you yelling? God.
Sorry,
because it's that maddening.
Yes. I think it makes it worse because it was a championship match.
That's fair.
Well,
that's fair too.
I don't know if it makes it worse. I like that they had this on TV, whatever. But it's just, I don't know. This match sucked. There was too much not happening in this match.
But it goes back to the thing where like when Cody first started shooting on WWE, you remember he used to come out of the darkness with a suit on and talk to the camera. He used to be like, we don't need to have gimmick matches every 10 minutes to make ourselves relevant. Because you shoot on Triple H, not working a real match for like 10 years. Because you're always doing no holds barred matches or no DQ matches.
Well, I don't think this was necessarily a gimmick match. They built this up to be a big fight match, more of an MMA style match. I just think they didn't deliver on the spots in the match. It was too boring.
But he specifically called out Triple H's use of no holds barred matches.
Hang on. This goes back to our argument last week of why I don't think they should be having all WWE former talent on top of their card, because you're taking away from what AEW should be watched for. And that's your matches with Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy,
the
athletes, the 30-minute barn burner matches that AJ Styles could put on, in WWE. But instead you have these wrestlers from WWE's yesteryear competing against each other on top of that in the main event of their shows. And it shows. And then,
but I think it goes back to what I talked about. Like they're like, and I know the conditioning of those wrestlers from the indies who are used to putting on 30-minute matches, but they're not used to doing it every week. So it's like this thing where, like, obviously Kenny Omega is great, but Kenny Omega wasn't a week. Like, he might have performed in multiple promotions, but there's no way that dude worked every week.
He wasn't doing TV. No, you're absolutely right.
Right, exactly. So it comes back to, like, they need to figure out a way to develop these talents that aren't used to. Or Kip Sabian was in Impact, and they would do all their matches in one weekend and then not shoot for another 4 weeks after they lost the Impact Zone. So it's like you have to come up with a way for these people to be able to work this schedule, or it's not going to work. Like your performers, like Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, like your big name dudes who you're planning on building this promotion around. Like the Young Bucks do fine because they're tag team. Like they work half and half.
Right.
Like that's fine.
I think you guys are missing the point though. I think Jake Hager is just a terrible wrestler, and he was. I mean, every match John Moxley has had outside the WWE has been pretty good.
Gimmicky,
I think the
though.
problem
Still gimmicky though.
Gimmicky, but I mean, everyone he's worked with, I think we can all agree with.
He's not putting on a 5-star clinic. That
he never will though. He's just not a 5-star wrestler. But he's a good wrestler. He's above average. Jake Hager is a terrible wrestler, in my opinion. I didn't like him in WWE. I find his character to be boring in WWE. I liked it in coming into AEW, but now that he's talking, it's terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think this match had nothing. I agree with you that they don't need top WWE stars at the top all the time. Sometimes, but this one definitely didn't need to happen. So,
I agree. Yeah.
This match just sucked. One thing I did want to mention real quick before I forget, what did you guys think of JR calling this match by himself?
I thought it was okay. Obviously, it's his. It does show like how much JR is a complementary talent, not a one-man show. And that's I think that's the biggest takeaway that I've read a lot is you don't understand the greatness of JR until you take away everybody who makes him who he is. Like Tony Schiavone is Tony Schiavone, so like Schiavone, whatever. But like he can call a match by himself and it's just stale. But JR is supposed to be great. So when he calls a match by himself and it's stale, you're like, fuck, this guy's not that great at all.
Yep. I agree with you. I think they should have had Tony call this match by himself because one, he does it like outside of wrestling. And I know JR has too, but like he's done it forever, way more than JR on outside of wrestling. And they wanted this big fight feel for this match. They should have had Tony do this match by himself. I think they just wanted the name of JR calling it, and I think that under-delivered as well. So.
Let me say a couple of things. I think JR should hang up his hat when it comes to play-by-play. I think JR makes a great addition to any team. Because of his credibility and what he can add to the talent, just by some of the things he can say about the talent can elevate them alone. But even when he's in the team, though, he's still doing play-by-play, and wrestling has passed him up. Which
he doesn't know the names of the moves.
Exactly. So, but I think what's happening here, and WWE did it with Michael Cole on the pre-show of WrestleMania, where he called a match by himself as well. Joey Ryan, correct, from ECW. Joey Ryan was
Joey Styles.
Joey Styles. No one has done it as well as him by themselves. And
I can't stand Joey Styles.
But the only other person I can think of in the industry right now that can do it by themselves is probably Morrow.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's not your good ones. It's not the ones that everybody thinks about.
It's a style, right? It's a style that these guys that are considered great, and I don't want to take that away from them. It's a style that they've never used or are accustomed to, and you're putting them in a bad scenario, and it shined in this match. It did not help this match at all.
No, this match from start to finish was terrible. Commentary, the match itself, and the people in it. So,
not to interrupt, they just released more names from NXT that got released.
All right,
we'll get to that in just a second.
I'm gonna put it in the list.
John Moxley won. No surprise. Post match, Moxley celebrated a bit. Said no one's gonna take it from him. This is his year in AEW. Probably the most underwhelming AEW show they've had. Not their fault, but it's the times we're in right now. So, any final thoughts on AEW?
Let me ask you, while he's adding these names to the list, do you think that AEW is taped through May? Even when WWE was taping, it was still a week at most out. Do you think them taping so far out has really hurt the product, or do you think that it just happens to be without a crowd? AEW isn't nearly as good as they are with a crowd.
I think that AEW is a. Oh, go ahead, Freddie. You go ahead. He was asking you something.
Well, no. What I was going to say is I think AEW has what they have with their story and their VPs and how they run their creative is I think they have kind of points that they want to get to and how they want, somewhat how they want to get there. But week by week or even bi-weekly, they have, they kind of fill in the stories. And I think filming it all at once, filming it all in I don't even know, was it a few days?
Yeah.
Hurt their on the spot. They had to cram so much into 4 weeks, 5 weeks out.
Yeah.
I think it definitely hurt them because it's not something they're used to. They don't do it like WWE. I think WWE could do it a lot better if they needed to tape 6 weeks out.
Sure.
They have a whole writing team.
Well, and their production team in period.
And their production
is better.
Right. But I think it's hurt it tremendously. I do think They're still putting on decent shows. It's just it is what it is. Like you got to take it what it is right now. And
absolutely.
I think first of all, if WWE is deemed essential because of its economic impact, then
it's
AEW,
just in Florida though. And every sports.
Every sport is deemed essential in Florida. You can run anything.
So AEW should be able to go.
But...
So AEW should be able to go back to filming because they're stationed in Jacksonville.
They already announced.
We're going to see boxing in Florida and we're going to see UFC in Florida because it's all deemed
So what
essential.
I'm saying is they could literally just nix whatever they have pre-taped.
Okay.
Like they won't. Like,
they could. They won't.
They could. They might save some stuff.
Sure.
And splice it in and stuff. But like maybe for Dark, they could show like what they want to in Dark, but I think the best option would be to do that because
I agree. Actually, I don't think it's the best option.
I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the most feasible option. But if you're seeing fans react to what they don't like, it's the best way to adjust on the fly.
Yeah, and that's going back to what I'm saying. They change it. If someone doesn't like it, they change it next week. When you have everything pre-taped like this, they're stuck with what they got.
Right. So. That's what I'm saying. So like they could be like, well, this pre-taped stuff that we already have, it's not going to work. Let's just cut it and move on, because like they're a response of the people wanting an alternative.
They're the alternative. So
and unfortunately, they cater to the fan base. I mean, I don't think it's unfortunate for us, the fans, but unfortunately for them, they cater to the fan base a lot more than they should.
I would just say that they're the hardcore wrestling fans, I think, watch AEW, right? So they have to cater to people like us a little bit more.
Sure.
So I think they do need to listen to us a little bit more. And that's what that they built the entire company on.
Right. So I'm saying
that idea.
So if they're like, man, I don't want to watch Darby Allin or not Darby Allin, but like what's a good example? Like, I don't even know at this point. But like,
I think that's why I enjoy NXT so much, because I'm definitely a hardcore wrestling fan. There's no doubt about it. But I do believe that there are certain circumstances where if you take WWE's main product and you take AEW and you kind of mesh them to you get the wrestling that you want, but you also get a medium fan driven product. I think NXT fits that mold, which I think is why I'm a lot higher on NXT than AEW currently, because I think you have both ends of the spectrum, with AEW being super fan driven, WWE being super Vince McMahon driven, and then I think NXT meets that middle road.
That's fair.
And so may another product like a Ring of Honor or a Impact I just don't watch. I'll be 100% honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think NXT mainstream wise is my happy medium between the fan driven and the Vince McMahon driven.
Last question on this, because you bring up a good point. I actually do agree with you on that. My thing is when AEW started, we didn't know a lot of these names. I didn't follow indie wrestling a lot. I mean, I've heard of these names and watched a few matches. My thing with why I like AEW better than NXT is as simple as this: is that when I watch an AEW match and it could be two people I don't know, I think they put on way better matches and storytelling that I care about, not even knowing who they are, than an NXT talent that I don't know anything about. But other than that, I can agree with you on the NXT side, where it's a kind of
and I think you feel that way. And I'm not shooting on NXT. Like I know NXT at the end of the day is going to be around longer probably than AEW. But because I mean, unless
500 million in reserves, so
unless Vince starts cutting more talent, obviously. But like I understand because you have there's a level of predictability with an NXT match. Like it's still in the WWE umbrella.
Yep.
Like unless it's like a big Lars Sullivan type dude, you're not going to get a squash. You're not going to get a surprise pin. You're going to get the person's main 7 to 10 moves. You're going to get a back and forth. You're going to get a tie up at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get either a clean finish or if they're a heel, a DQ, which WWE's actually cut down a lot on DQs
since AEW's inception. Yes.
Yeah. So it's very weird.
Overall, we all agree that NXT and AEW is still the best televised,
no question about it,
show, better than Raw and SmackDown in my opinion by far.
So
miles.
But AEW does have to address that weekly, like that transition from we have a bunch of wrestlers who wrestle once a month to we wrestle weekly. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you don't need your top. Like they said, they weren't going to have the top guys wrestle every week, but at the same time, like Kenny Omega was this great figurehead in wrestling because of the mainstream people. Like, and Strunk loves him because he wasn't a mainstream guy, but he put on these 30 to 40 minute barn burners.
Yep, everything.
But like,
I think he's doing great in AEW. I don't think he's at the top right now, but the story before this whole epidemic happened, he was in that tag team story was great.
Fantastic.
But now that he's in the spotlight, he doesn't seem as great as he did because he's not getting to showcase that talent every week. So it's just one of those things where like they need to come up with a way to find middle ground with these long indie wrestlers who are used to wrestling really long matches.
Yeah.
And how to fit that into a 20-minute format.
And I completely agree with you. And I think that's what NXT particularly does better. I think Kenny Omega is a great example of what you're talking about as far as an independent wrestler going to the mainstream, going to weekly television. And Kenny is improving. But if you go back and watch Kenny from the beginning, even on the first pay-per-view they did, he has a really bad habit of looking at himself on the screen. Yeah, he just his timing. You know, in Japan they say, you know, go out, you got 40 minutes. You know, no big deal. Go do your thing. You know, cut it short 2 minutes. Go long 2 minutes. They're not gonna crucify you. On TV, it's a whole different ball game. You have to hit your cues. You have to hit your commercial breaks.
Yeah, and I think that's why they time the matches.
Right.
Is to help it and they actually announce they're gonna time the match because it makes the talent think, holy shit, I've got half the amount of time that we usually have.
Right.
And that's why you and I feel differently about Kenny Omega, is because you've watched his huge, large barn burner matches. I've watched a few of them, but I think he just needs to adapt to what he's got.
I don't think if I told a new fan, a great example is my dad. My dad is a lifetime wrestling fan. I could tell you stories of him hanging out with wrestlers, you know, the whole 9 yards, but my dad is also a WWE mainstream only guy, you know, WCW back in the day, and he's watching AEW, but he doesn't get Kenny Omega. I can't say to him, hey, go back and watch his matches with AJ Styles and go back and watch his New Japan matches with Okada and all these guys, and his tag matches with against Naito and his tag matches with you know, the Golden Lovers. He doesn't get it. It doesn't come across the same. I feel like I got attached to him because I was watching that stuff as it progressed, and I was watching him come up through that. And you go, holy shit, what a star. Don't get me wrong, they're great matches to go back and watch, but I don't think it develops that same emotional attachment that I would have for someone like him. Watching
it's like when I grew up watching TNA, watching AJ Styles come up in TNA.
Sure. You're going to have an affection for AJ Styles that I just wouldn't understand.
And that's why I still like the Impact product. Sure. Well, that's why I still talk about the Impact product, because I watched it as an alternative because I was sick of watching Matt Hardy and Edge get screwed over as mid-carders.
Yeah.
And then one day I was sitting at home and Jeff Hardy came on my TV on some random promotion. And I was like, what is this? And my brother's like, more fake fucking wrestling.
Hey.
But Freddie, are you back yet?
Yeah,
no?
Right.
He's listening. He's taking it in, baby.
I'm in the middle because I'm in the middle with you. I don't love Kenny Omega. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's one of the best, but I'm not like emotionally attached to him like someone like Strunk is. But I think he's a little bit better than maybe what you're saying, AJ. I think he does still have a lot to learn, and I think that's why they're not pushing him to the top yet.
It could be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Give him time. There's no reason to push people like Kenny yet. So when you have people like a Dean and a Chris Jericho, I keep calling him Dean. I'm going to shoot myself.
Now, before we move on, because I really want to move on to the wrestlers.
Yeah. Let's get right.
I will, full transparency. AJ and I have a $10 bet log that we keep track of, that we randomly bet things on. And one of the bets was who takes the belt off Jericho first, Kenny Omega or Jon Moxley, and I definitely lost that bet. I figured they would immediately revert back to New Japan and the chemistry they had on TV and go to Kenny Omega, but I was wrong, and they went to Moxley. So
not only did you lose that, you also
you were so wrong.
You bet that
Gronk would return to the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He might return to Tampa. We never know.
No.
He signed to the WWE, Strong. He's not going anywhere.
You said the Patriots by week 14.
I know. I lost that bet too.
He wrote that shit down, okay? Moving on.
I have it in my notes. and screenshots.
So do I.
I was like, anyway. So, all right. So now we're going to do what I've been calling is where do they land? I have a spreadsheet. I think we all have it up.
I don't. Is it in the Discord?
It's in the Discord. It's under landing spots. So we're all going to predict where the released WWE talent is going to end up. First and foremost, I want to say on behalf of everybody here, we're sorry that you lost your employment if you ever decide to watch this. And we hope you end up in a better spot where you can actually control your destiny. Really, that's what this is all about. It's not about we don't value you as pro wrestlers. So do we want to get into it? Do you want to?
Yeah, let's. I found it. Okay. Let's run through the list. There's very few that we need to spend any time on predicting. And then also I would like to just put a caveat on a time frame on this. I know we're going through some shitty stuff with COVID, and we don't know where the wrestling industry is going.
So Heath Slater said he still has a 90-day window.
Okay, so let's put 6 months on this. If they show up in the next 6 months to one of these products, and can you guess nowhere and get a point for it?
Can I also say who made this background black? Because you are a terrible person.
I did, because the last fucking spreadsheet you made burnt my eyes into a hole.
Well, this is burning my soul. But anyways, go ahead.
Can we predict nowhere in the next 6 months and get a point for it? That's what I want to ask.
You can predict to retire indefinitely.
Well, no,
the only thing I'm going to say is let's not do producers, because they weren't actually let go.
Yes.
Right. I just put them there as a list so we can keep track of them.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Fine.
All right.
And then obviously this list might change because they're still releasing NXT talent as we speak. They just released the names of 4 more since we started this.
Okay. Let's run down this, and then let's run down through the whole list, and then let's go back and talk about a handful of the wrestlers that are relevant.
So Kurt Angle.
Nowhere.
I think he retires.
Yep, same.
Indefinitely. Make sure to change your font color. I think he retires.
I think Luke Gowles, I cannot speak. And Carl Anderson are obviously going to go in tandem, right? And they're going to be in New Japan.
Well, so I don't understand. So Heath Slater said he had a 90-day window, but if
all of them do, except the NXT talent that get released, they have 30-day windows.
Well, they're still getting paid for 30 days. So, all right, fuck this.
Yeah, I can't get my thing to fucking stay.
All right, let me change it back. I'll change it back. Move your shit.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Just highlight it afterwards. Just type it in, highlight afterwards, and change all the fonts.
Yeah, we can do that too. All right.
Let's go over some of these bigger names. I want to go over a few personally. I think EC3, Drake Maverick, Heath Slater.
He's Rockstar Spud again. He's Rockstar Spud.
Oh, is he? Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go off their WWE names, and Zack Ryder are the most intriguing ones to me, because I think those are the 4 that I personally want. I'm not saying they will go to AEW. So
I'm gonna say
EC3 is gonna be a fucking star somewhere.
I think Spud goes back to Impact.
You think he goes back to Impact?
That's what made him famous. And honestly, I think that there's a chance that EC3 goes back to Impact too, but because EC3 had I watch a bunch of promos for EC3 the other day. I'm putting AEW, but I think there's a good chance he goes back to Impact.
Can I put I don't care on a few of these? I honestly don't care. No Way Jose, don't care. And I'm sure he's great. I just, until he reinvents himself as not a comedy wrestler, I don't care.
Tony Schiavone says he predicts AEW signs Kurt Hawkins.
I hope not. I actually don't like him.
I think locks for AEW are Sarah Logan.
I don't think Sarah Logan goes to AEW.
I do. Sarah Logan, Zack Ryder, and Rusev are the only, in my minds, the only 3 locks.
Well, Zack Ryder, obviously, and Rusev, I think, are locks.
Yes.
Would you say the other one? What was the other lock you said? I'm
Sarah
sorry.
Logan. I think of the women released, I think she has the most potential, and I think that AEW. I honestly think AEW scoops up every woman released. I think they get Perazo, and I think they get Tenera Conti.
I would love to see Teneri Conti in AEW.
I think they need every woman they can get, and if they're free agents right now, sign them to contracts, please.
That means that MJ Jenkins gets signed too.
So I think Drake Maverick would be a great fit for AEW. God damn, he's good, but he could go to ROH too, man. Where's Bubba right now? Is he in ROH?
He's a producer at ROH.
Okay, so I can see Drake going. Him and Bubba Dudley are good friends. I can see him going there. Leo Rush, I would love to see in AEW. I think he's a phenomenal on the mic and in the ring.
I know, so there's Tony Schiavone said he could see 5 of the people that got released in AEW. I don't think I think Lio Rush goes to Japan.
God, he'd be great in Japan too.
I think he goes to the Ring of Honor, personally.
I
honestly don't know if anyone wants to sign him because he has a lot of baggage.
Does he though? Well, I mean, is it WWE baggage? That's my thing with him.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think he can overcome that, and I think he's one of the few people on this list that got released that can both hold his own on the mic and in the ring.
And Leo did come from Ring of Honor, so
that's fair.
I think that I don't see a lot of these people going to Impact, but I do think that if Impact wanted to, like if Mark Cuban wanted Impact back on the map, he would literally make huge money offers to all of these people. Because Mark Cuban owns Axis, which owns Impact now, so he could literally be like, but which is weird because they air New Japan too. Like I think we've talked about this, right? Where they could have
for now, I don't think they've re-signed New Japan.
They're trying to come up with right? Well, they're trying to do New Japan America.
Okay, all right. I just don't think they're going to be on the same channel for more than another year or so. I
don't know if you remember. I told Strunk, I was like, what'd be really cool is if Mark Cuban was like, I want a best of my talent competition, where everybody from each show comes and they like the best world champions from each show. Like, so if Mark Cuban owns Ring of Honor and New Japan America, have the New Japan champion and the Ring of Honor champion face off, or the Impact champion, not Ring of Honor, sorry. And they also run Women of Wrestling. So you could have Tessa Blanchard versus the Women's Wrestling champion, even though she is the Women's Wrestling champion. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be a pretty cool thing.
I put Heath Slater goes to AEW because I think, again, he's a very untapped talent in WWE. The reason that he may not be land in AEW is because I think he wants a shot of redemption in WWE, a la Jinder and Drew. And I think AEW automatically nicks that opportunity. So he might end up in ROH or Impact or maybe even on the independents. But I do see Heath Slater returning to WWE for the sheer fact of the people that will go back to bat for him. So he's one of the few that I see. I was surprised by his release. Him
and Zack Ryder.
I was.
Zack Ryder.
I wasn't surprised by Zack's, but I was definitely surprised by Slater.
So the reason I'm upset about the Zack Ryder release is Zack Ryder is so talented.
Yep.
And not even that, not even the gimmick, like just his pure athletic ability.
Like, 100%.
Like Vince took this kid and then just like, it's like when you buy too much food at the store and then you just let it go bad in the fridge and then your mother calls you and she's like, why'd you buy all that food if it's just going bad?
That's like, fucking WWE.
Yeah, exactly. So Vince has like this prime fucking piece of produce and it's just sitting there going bad little by little because of how old it's getting. And then he's like, you know what? I don't want it. And just throws it in the trash.
But with Zack Ryder, though, like he's had his moments in WWE to shine. He's had his WrestleMania moments. He's had his big spots. Yeah. Listen, I don't care what happens the next night. He had that spot in the ring with his dad at WrestleMania. He won a fucking IC belt at WrestleMania. Yeah. You know, you'll never take that away from him. I think he can go to AEW, become a star there, and not have to go back to WWE. I think a lot of these guys, ultimate goal may be to end up back in WWE.
I think Jake Maverick. I mean, obviously,
God damn, he's good, man.
He's so good, and he was. As all the shit, I think over the last 2 years, everyone's like they're not using him. He obviously looked like he really loved it there.
So my favorite, he met his wife there, didn't he? No, he met his wife at Impact.
I don't know. I follow her on Twitter.
I think the funniest part. I think my favorite thing about Rockstar Spud is I'm going to start calling him Spud again because he's Rockstar Spud.
It's a better name.
I think the best shot of Spud I ever saw was during the final deletion match between the Hardys and who else was it? The Young Bucks?
Yes.
Yeah, the Young Bucks. And Spud like shows up at the gate and he's like, am I at the wrong place? And he like turns around, he's like, oh my God, I'm at the wrong place. And he picks up his phone and calls EC3. He's like, where are you? I'm at the wrong place. Or something like that. And it's just so funny. Like he's comedic gold. He's still on the small end for the wrestlers. He never really wrestled much in Impact anyway. He's more of a personality. He is EC3's best friend. So if EC3 gets signed somewhere, expect him to show up.
I was gonna say they had the Twitter video. Was it today or yesterday with them working out together already?
Well, they have their Music City Mania shit that they do.
And Braun Strowman's
part of that. Yeah. So, this is rough. About 3 months ago, Jabali was talking with Kenny Omega. Jabali is the guy who puts on one of the pay-per-views with them every year and does the video game stuff. And Kenny was explaining that they are still working with New Japan as far as getting talent to cross-promote and to do stuff. If they can work that out, I would love to see Gallows and Anderson to come in and bring the Bullet Club, gimmick with them into AEW. I think it would be a huge boost.
But that's a predominantly Ring of Honor stable now.
Yeah, Ring of Honor, again, it doesn't fall on the radar, though, in my opinion. I think you could bring it back in. I don't know why Tama Tonga is not in AEW. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened with him, but, the Gorillas of Destiny are amazing.
He's champion in, 3 different promotions. He's MLW champion.
So he's just giving up too much money by signing to one promotion is what's happening.
I think he just likes being...
free.
Yeah, and, AJ Styles did the same thing for the WWE. He was champion in, 3 different promotions.
Yeah.
I do think that these indie, like Seth Rollins put out that video and he's like, as wrestlers, we need to come together. Like WWE, you don't understand. Obviously, the ones who are still there don't understand how to be. Some people do. Ricochet and Adam Cole know how to be indie wrestlers. But I think all these indie promotions need to find a way to work together.
Yeah.
The coalition of pro wrestling. That's such a fucking cool idea. That this isn't sports entertainment, this is pro wrestling. And I think that idea alone would sell so much that you could have these people going everywhere in these brands and making all this money. And the United Nations of Wrestling or something.
They could have a supercard pay-per-view once a year that people would pay for that involve names on all these promotions easily.
Right.
The last one they had, it started a whole company. So
and
right.
that's almost
exactly.
true. Yeah.
And it's not even like they had to do they could literally do month, I'm not saying every month, but I'm saying if they split the costs of these promotions, the money they would save and the money they would make by doing these promotions would skyrocket all the businesses involved.
So let me ask everyone this: out of all the names that got released so far, which one is the next Matt Hardy or the next Cody that's gonna just take over the wrestling industry when it gets back on track in the next year or 2 years? Just one.
What do you mean?
Who's going to come out of this?
Who's the biggest star in this list?
Who's the biggest star? Who's the biggest star that's going to be the next Cody or Matt Hardy? Someone that just goes to another promotion and everyone goes, "Wow, WWE fucked up."
I think EC3. He's young enough to build a future.
38.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he's 32.
I think it has to be Rusev.
I don't think
I agree.
Rusev,
I was going to say it's going to be Rusev.
Oh, he's 37. Holy shit.
I want to say Leo Rush given the opportunity, but I don't think he'll have that opportunity. I don't think he's big enough to have physically sized. I don't think he's big enough to get that opportunity. I think Rusev makes the biggest splash in any promotion going forward. There's no doubt about it. He's the hottest free agent on this list.
Everyone loves him.
Honestly, I think if packaged right, I think Zack Ryder would be a huge ad.
I agree.
No, I agree. I think he's a great ad. I don't think he's the next big thing in wrestling.
I don't think that anybody now that I realize that EC3 is actually 38 years old. Thank you. I forget that he was in WWE for 5 years. Just a waste of 5
He's still great.
years.
I think he still makes a big splash somewhere. Too,
But Zack Ryder is still relatively young. He's 34 years old. He's in great shape. He's super athletic. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, like you said, Leo Rush has some kind of baggage, even if it is WWE baggage.
Right.
Rusev has a wife. I mean, I guess Chelsea Green's in WWE now too.
Well, and Renee Young's in WWE. I don't think that.
Yeah. I think Zack Ryder has the best overall ability in this group.
The other one I will say, I think Rusev, whatever his name will be, is going to be the next one. But I really want Heath Slater to do something special. I really want him. When he was over with the I Got Kids thing, and they didn't capitalize on that, they did whatever. They won the tag belts, but God, he could be good. I hope he comes out of.
I could see him feud with Joey Ryan in Impact, Joey Ryan. Rockstar versus Dick, a porn star.
I think I'm we didn't really get into the dynamics of what happened here. AJ and I kind of had a discussion off the podcast about the rights and wrongs of this.
Hold on, Ferdy, what the fuck is NLP?
It was supposed to be New Japan.
It's my keyboard. It's not letting me type, so I just left it.
AJ and I had I want to say AJ is more pissed off at WWE than I am when it comes to these releases.
I'm not pissed off at the releases. I'm pissed off that
when it happened.
I'm pissed off at the timing and when we all knew for a long time that they should have done this. And now, like, they waited till it was too late, and now these people are potentially without jobs. That's why I'm pissed off, that they waited until the absolute last minute. I'm not pissed that these people are gone, because these people, I mean, minus Primo and Epico and Aiden English, like...
Well, they've all made a lot of money by doing not a lot, most of them, you know, and they made that decision. You know, I'll argue that left and right. Now, the semantics of when they got released, but I'll go back to WWE being a business. Whether you like the way they're ran or not is irrelevant because he's running it as a business. You know, he's going to Saudi Arabia, for God's sake, and taking blood money. He doesn't care what you think. And at the end of the day, his bottom line is the investors. And, you know, he's making the right decisions for the company. And honestly, for the talent, this is the best thing that can happen to most of them.
This is going to help the wrestling industry tremendously.
I agree. But if you're going to call them independent contractors, don't make business decisions based on these wrestlers' lives.
That's a whole different argument, but I do agree with you.
No, and then it goes back to, you know, like the timing. Like they could have done this 6 months ago. They knew they were a waste of money 6 months ago because some of them, Rusev wasn't going to re-sign. Mike and Maria haven't done.
They both re-signed, though.
They both re-signed and then requested.
I know. But then what I'm saying is Mike was in rehab and Maria was pregnant. Like, you can't fire somebody for getting pregnant, obviously.
Right.
But they knew Mike was going to be a big problem from the beginning. They didn't have to re-sign him. They didn't have to re-sign either because they weren't contributing. They signed Eric Young and Sanity because they didn't want them to go somewhere else. And now Sanity, like two of the dudes in Sanity, one's married to Sarah Logan. Like, he's in NXT UK jobbing out every week. And the other one, I don't even remember who the other one is. And Eric Young is a great mind in wrestling, and they signed him just so he couldn't go somewhere else. And he wasted 4 years of his life.
But he also made more money in those 4 years than he would have made at any other promotion.
That's true.
I mean, not the past year.
Not all of these wrestlers care. I'll say this: not all these wrestlers care about wrestling, and I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying,
it's still a job for them.
It's still a job. So, for example, someone like Rusev, which I'm sure they were just throwing money at him to re-sign, he cares more about his narrative and his creative. Someone like a Matt Hardy as well,
or Jon Moxley.
Than the big payday. So, like, and I'm not saying they don't, but Heath Slater, Zack Ryder, these guys have been with the company for so long. And I think even if did you guys watch Heath Slater's Instagram video? He kind of mentioned that, like, hey man, this kind of gets me going again. This kind of like, you know, hey, listen, like, you know, I was kind of riding the wave a little bit. Like this, he's excited now because this is going to push him in this stuff. But I think people like that, they have families. They were getting a nice chunk of a payday, and they were doing what they love, which might have not been like
the way they envisioned
it, but they were doing what,
right, absolutely. And I will also say that in credit to all of the talent, but I have not heard one negative reaction from any of the talent about the situation. Now, some of them might have something to say about it. You know, your Rusev, who was kind of stuck home already. But for the most part, all of these guys have left the door open for potential returns and or at least not negative animosity towards the largest wrestling organization in the world.
Right.
So credit to them.
Is wrestling.
And credit to them.
There was a report on where is it?
I do agree with you, AJ, that it was literally the worst time. But when the reports are like they have 500 million in reserves, yada yada yada. At the end of the day, we don't know how long this is going to go. So whether they did it now or they did it in like 6 months when they're still not doing any live events,
right.
It's a business and that's where I agree with Struck. It's a business where they were going to do it then and there. They're just trying not to bleed money till there. Like it's smart business. It's a shitty thing. It's a terrible. You know, we all have worked. You work for like one of the largest, you know, shittier organizations in the world, but it's a job. So, and it's a company. They're going to do what's best for business.
So I can't find it. There's rumors that some of the mid-card WWE talent's been pushing like the higher talent to
strike,
to talk about unionizing.
Yeah.
Because they feel that there isn't enough protection for them as independent contractors. And it goes back to how different, like, and I'm not trying to praise AEW in this. Like, there's a big difference between how AEW treats their employees as employees, and and I think that that's a main thing. Like, if you're going to let these people be independent contractors, you shouldn't and you're going to lay them off essentially. You should let them the next 90 days nothing's going to happen anyway.
Right.
You should open up that 90-day policy and say, hey, you know what? Because we know that indefinitely, everything's pre-taped for what's going to happen, and for what's not, nobody cares.
Yeah, and there
we can at least let you go find a new job.
The contracts in wrestling are for WWE are very one-sided as far as being a contract.
Absolutely,
it's a contract for WWE to guarantee their talent stays there, and it is a for lack of better terms, a prison sentence for the talent. Now, much like WCW changed the game with contracts and guaranteed money, AEW is the next step in that, and Vince will have to conform to that. Now, Vince has, in the past 20 years, the downside guarantees for these wrestlers has astronomically changed. Even when there was guaranteed contracts, their downsides were $500 an appearance. Now they're talking $500,000 for, the Revival were offered $500,000 each yearly for a downside. So
Gallows and Anderson got $700,000.
Yeah, so their downsides have dramatically changed, and that's changed a lot because of the competition out there. But I also think that AEW will force their hand in. And when it comes down to, okay, I can go to WWE and make $600,000 a year guaranteed with XYZ downside or whatever, or I can go to AEW and make $500,000 a year guaranteed, but I have this much protection in my contract.
And you work 1 day a week.
Well, that's going to change.
But you know what I'm saying,
and they provide healthcare coverage.
Not to all the wrestlers though. Let's be clear on that. They only do it to the full time or what. It's only a few. It's not all of them. It's not majority of them actually.
It's like the ones who are the 50% most active in the company.
Yeah.
So, but any of these people could fit that mold.
I agree.
And we'll see what happens in 3 years from now with AEW. Can they sustain what they're trying to do? WCW could not. I think they're going to go about it a lot smarter than WCW, and they're not just going to throw money at, everybody. But
WCW was around a lot longer than they should have been.
Well, no, I disagree. I think WCW could have potentially even won that battle if Time Warner and AOL thing didn't happen. I think Suits getting involved ruined WCW, and Eric Bischoff would agree with that, but that's neither here nor there. So I don't know. I'm excited for what can happen with the wrestling industry going forward. I'm very lackluster on wrestling in general with these no audience shows. 50% of wrestling is the audience, if not more, and it is rough to watch. And
it's you can tell that WWE builds their product around the audience.
Sure.
Especially the characters like Otis that feed off the entire audience for every match.
So. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But
and without the audience, you can tell what they steal from other shows easier.
Yeah.
Like changing the hard camera in not the Impact Zone, the Performance Center to the announcer side.
That's one thing I hope that the AEW gets big enough and WWE literally they just start stealing ideas from each other. Because obviously during the Attitude Era and stuff like that, that's why wrestling was so great. Competition
breeds right, absolutely greatness.
Yeah,
I will say that AEW, no doubt about it, is lacking most for not having an audience. Their audience is so, and you could argue NXT as well on a smaller scale, but AEW's audience is so into their product and they'll put anything that they want them to put over. And it comes across now when we're seeing these non-stars wrestle and the crowd can make them stars and there's no crowd there to do it.
Yeah. Freddie and I were at that show in DC or not. DC, right? Yeah.
It was DC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it we didn't know who Chuck Taylor and
best friends.
I knew who Trent Barretta was.
Sure.
Because he was in Impact, but I love we had so much fun and we had no idea.
They're stars. The crowd makes stars, and they can't
exactly.
do that now.
And it was even Ferdy cheered for Jake Hager, and Ferdy hates Jake Hager.
Right. Yeah.
I was gonna say that earlier. I do think that pro wrestling coming out of this will benefit because the people who actually care about the wrestlers, I'm not saying Vince McMahon doesn't care because at some level he cares.
He doesn't, sure.
Yeah, I mean at some very high level he cares. But I do think that people who care about pro wrestlers, like the pro wrestlers who are actually in positions of power in these companies, will find a way to benefit the wrestlers moving forward. I do, but it also falls under a sporting events category. Like, there's a lot of people giving up money right now, but also a lot of pro athletes make more than pro wrestlers, obviously. Like, LeBron makes more than the whole WWE roster in 1 year.
Yeah. Well, just off endorsements. I mean,
yeah,
Nike
exactly.
pays
so
him
like,
more than the entire WWE roster.
Exactly, and he plays less games and they wrestle matches.
And that's fair, you know.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is, I think that you'll see, maybe not right now, but especially since the publicity that WWE is getting over this essential
business. Yeah.
Like, it's like, first of all, it's fucking asinine. Pardon my language. But second of all, I think that you'll see a lot of people coming out in support of regulations for pro athletes of that caliber.
I want to say you're right, but I mean, we've had John Oliver, we've had multiple people do pieces and this stuff go viral. It's happened when the Benoit shit happened. It's happened when younger wrestlers have died. You know, credit where credit is due. The younger wrestling deaths have definitely subsided over the last 15 years, 10 years. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, it gets swept under the rug, you know, and I think the same will happen here, unfortunately, unless the wrestlers themselves band together and make something happen. And this is the time to do it. If there was a time to do it, for them to all say, we're done until we have something in writing, now is the time. And when it comes back to live audiences and their merch sales go back up and people are buying tickets to stadiums again, I think this all gets swept under the rug. I think the wrestling product comes out as a better product. I don't think the wrestlers benefit in any way going forward from this, though, personally.
That's fair.
So, all right. Well, that was episode 5, where 20 minutes of the beginning of this was just me talking. So you guys enjoyed that, hopefully. And we're going to get some all the audio in the next episode 6, which we'll push for probably again next Friday, unless something big happens and we do a Wednesday one.
I mean, I tried to get a Wednesday one out this week and nobody answered. So.
It's a struggle, bro. It's a struggle.
You can say no.
It's a struggle, man. It's not about, you know, I really want to be able to fast forward through a lot of the product, and you know, I wasn't feeling it Wednesday.
I know. I didn't even want to talk about the product on Wednesday. I just want to talk about the layoff.
I know.
The news,
yeah, it was big news.
Well, yeah.
By the way, I think Tanera Conti in AEW is going to be hot.
Let's do it. I'm with you.
I love me some Tanera Conti.
I think Sarah Logan too. I think both of them coming in improve that division.
I think she was Impact.
Let's hope AEW scoops up as many women as they can. So, on that note, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're getting out there on all the platforms. Ferdy's doing his best to
Instagram coming soon.
So give us a follow, give us a like, give us a 5-star rating, and we'll see you guys next week. Keep an eye on Twitter for date and time for next podcast. Thanks, guys.